My first question then would be, have the Irish people ever been given the opportunity to vote on an amendment to Article 40, paragraph 3, sub 3 of the Constitution? What importance is the state party, is Ireland giving to the opinion polls? And we have information before us on recent opinion polls in Ireland, which show that 70%, a large majority of the Irish people, support abortion in cases of fetal anomaly, in cases of risk to a woman's health, and in cases where pregnancy results from rape, child abuse. And then third, on this particular issue, it struck me that the delegation in its responses so far, and I would like to express my appreciation for the responses so far, was somewhat limited in its in the analysis of the human rights dimensions of abortion, because it presented the issue of abortion, at least the human rights dimension of the issue of abortion, as a balancing between the right to life of the unborn child and the right to life of the mother. And I do think that such an analysis of the human rights dimensions of abortion does not do either justice to the realities in which women find themselves, but neither to the more nuanced assessment of the human rights dimensions of the abortion issue by the Human Rights Committee, which first and foremost stresses the right to life and health of the mother, but secondly, which stresses also the importance of Article 7 of our covenant in respect of the issue of abortion. And as you know, Article 7 contains the obligation of states parties not to subject anyone to cruel, inhuman, or degrading treatment. And yet, the present situation in Ireland is that that a woman who is seeking abortion in a situation where her health is at risk, in a situation where her pregnancy is the result of a crime such as incest or rape, in a situation where she is carrying a baby with a fetal anomaly, that she is facing 14 years of imprisonment if she would seek abortion. And yet, the present situation in Ireland is that women are not allowed to seek abortion, only in limited circumstances in Ireland itself, but yet they are allowed to travel abroad to seek abortion outside the Republic of Ireland. And my first impression of that is that in itself is a discrimination of women. But I would like to hear from the delegation whether it thinks, whether it's her opinion that this particular situation is indeed compatible with the obligations of Ireland under Article 2 and 3 of the Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. Those were my questions, follow-up questions, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much.
I briefly, too, have a couple of follow-up questions, factual. One is almost the same as yours, relating to the ability, apparently, of women to go abroad to seek abortions, whether there isn't a discrimination element there, not so much in terms of gender, but in terms of social status and property. Clearly, those with the resources can do it, those without the resources cannot do it. I'd like to know if that is a dimension of the thinking of the state party, and if so, to what extent.
On question number 12, I would want to begin my comments in relation to this by referring to the comments of Mr. Shani, Mr. Iwasawa and Mr. Flinteman. And I want to make it absolutely clear that the Government of Ireland recognises entirely the points raised by the members of the committee in relation to Article 25, that the majority will does not and cannot derogate from human rights obligations. It would require another constitutional referendum to capture all of the circumstances that have been outlined in the three questions from the three members of the committee. And I would refer members of the committee again to the very recent legislation, which had been called for a long time, the 2013 Protection of Life During Pregnancy Bill, which gives clarity to medical professionals and very, very importantly, gives clarity to women. I think it was in many ways a precedent in relation to this topic to have the kind of open and informed discussion in the Houses of the Oireachtas, and that informed the passing of the legislation and the views of government. I think it was Committee Member Flinterman who asked about opinion polls. Yes, I take the point that you're making, and obviously opinion polls, have varied in relation to this topic in Ireland, but they do indicate a changing view in relation to aspects of this topic.
There was referral to the right to travel, and the chairman alluded to the fact that women with resources can travel where people who have not. That is the situation, and we have no, what would you say, no solution to that at present, that women who have resources can travel. We haven't been challenged to make a change to legislation, but that is the situation. Thank you. And I suppose just to finish, to add to the Minister's point, it was never my intention that there should not be the consideration, as mentioned by members of the committee, that there is a balance between all of the human rights articles in the Covenant, and they underpin all of the debate and all of the decision making within my department, and are taken as a whole as part of the overall development of this very sensitive area in Ireland. Thank you.
Then there remain many of the social issues that have been raised by colleagues. The Magdalene laundries, the mother and baby homes, the child abuse, the symphysiotomy. It's quite a collection, and it's a collection that has gone on, that carried on beyond any period that it's hard to imagine any state party tolerating. And I guess I can't prevent myself from observing that that all of them are not disconnected from the institutional belief system that has predominated in the state party, and which occasionally has sought to dominate the state party. Obviously, the recognition of the primary right to life of the woman, who's an existent human being, has to prevail over that of the unborn child. I'm sorry that the clarification doesn't extend to the right to health of the woman. Life without quality of life is not something many of us have to choose between, and to suggest that regardless of the health consequences of a pregnancy, a person may be doomed to continue it at the risk of criminal penalties is difficult to understand, even more so arguably for rape, where the person doesn't even bear any responsibility and is by the law clearly treated as a vessel and nothing more. Very difficult for this committee to comprehend. The issue that remains for the state party to consider is what it is going to do about accountability. Accountability for its own responsibilities, accountability for its failures to monitor what others have been doing, and the accountability of others for committing abuses that the state might well be able to think of as crimes, and the accountability dimension is missing in everything we've heard so far.